to the Queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of The Peasant's Perspective. I don't know how much of that you heard or not. We're live in our microphones all the time. Oh, good morning, Carlitos. Good morning. You made it early. John Atakis, good morning. Mata Easel, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Evra Easel, good morning. It's a good morning from Seattle. Who's Evra Easel? I think I know who that is, but I don't. Whatever you're doing in Seattle, welcome.
Seems to be a theme with all the Azels.
Yeah, no, that's a family. Is what
Inside joke.
Yeah, what's a family?
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, this was a pretty good weekend. Trump was pretty active on Truth Social. Yeah. And there's a lot of, how do I put this? How do I put this without sounding like a guy that's just trying to say it for clicks? A lot of stuff is breaking loose. A lot of stuff.
A lot of noise.
A lot of noise.
We'll try to clean up the noise.
We'll try to clean it up a little bit and play on some of the noise. Okay, so let's jump over here on my screen, Ron, and let's look at Truth Social. So this is Donald Trump's Truth Social feed. So last week he put up this an insurrection plainly, directly, without question. It's a general call for rebellion from the CIA and armed services of the United States by Democrat lawmakers.
It is insurrection, plainly, directly, without question. And when you have one of the lawmakers on that video being unable to state in, as you say, lengthy cross-examination, a single so-called illegal order, it just proves the point. It's a general call for rebellion from the CIA and the armed services of the United States by Democrat lawmakers.
So he goes on to just keep basically saying that. Trump put out this video of Larry Summers from 2016.
Of Donald Trump being president would be the gravest threat to our prosperity, our security, and our freedom.
To somebody's prosperity and freedom.
And that's Larry Summers, former Secretary of Treasury, president at Harvard, Epstein acolyte. Right. Larry Summers called Trump the gravest threat to America in his adult lifetime. This is a retweet from Donald Trump. Fast forward today, and he's apologizing to his class for his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Why is it that all of Epstein's friends were so scared of Trump's presidency? And then he goes in here and he posts this video of James Comer.
Colleagues' coordination with Epstein. Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep. And then he posts that again. Holy crap. Another repost from Nick Sortor. Holy crap. House Oversight Chair James Comer just exposed Hakeem Jeffries on the House floor for soliciting meeting and donations from Jeffrey Epstein, even after he was a convicted sex predator. The Epstein thing is going to backfire massively on the Democrats. Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event to meet with him privately with Hakeem Jeffries in 2013 to win a majority, Comer said. The text of their email solicitation to Epstein has been released.
Now we have a Fox News alert.
The Supreme Court just cleared the way for Trump to deport illegals even faster.
So they cleared the way. They basically said in a 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court has just handed President Trump a sweeping wartime powers under the 1798 Alien and Enemies Act, allowing mass deportations of Trinidad gang members classified as an invasion force straight to El Salvador's mega prison. Now, this is very significant. This Alien and Enemies Act, the whole idea here is we've declared what's coming up from Venezuela and through the southern border an actual act of war and an invasion of the United States. And the Supreme Court has just upheld that. So if a country is actively invading the United States, what does that allow the United States to do? Not only deport those people, but what else?
Push back for sure.
Well, it definitely is saying they're invading and that this is an invasion force. And typically when a country sends an invasion force, they're at, say it with me,
War.
Okay, great. Thank you. He retweeted this. Elon Musk just told his 229 million followers that he wants to thank Donald Trump for everything he's done for the world. Donald Trump was at the Saudi summit with a bunch of other leaders. BBC has questions to answer over Trump's edited speech. So BBC came to Donald Trump and said, hey, we want to settle after all. Sorry about that whole January 6th thing. Whoops. And he said, no, we're going to Discovery. So I want to find out what actually happened behind that.
I just can't believe we're still talking about that guy.
Tired of these critics.
Yeah. Okay. Then Donald Trump posts, we are taking in trillions of dollars in tariffs and investment dollars from foreign lands because of tariffs. I have stopped 5 of the 8 wars directly because of the threat of tariffs. If they don't stop fighting, or better yet, if they start, there's almost no inflation and the worst in the USA and the worst in USA history under sleepy Joe Biden. The stock market just hit an all-time high. And for the 48th time in 9 months, which, by the way, stock market's usually soaking up liquidity, to Leonardo, Leo, Coke, and all of the countries and slime balls that have ripped off the United States of America for years. Through the use of their own tariffs, we don't have a court system that's going to let you destroy our country any longer. This is the richest, strongest, and most respected the USA has ever been. November 5th, and tariffs are the reason why. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Then he goes on. Oh, there's just so much that he's saying here.
Now we have Fox
So he
News.
spent a lot of time retweeting. Let me get to where maybe I didn't get to where he tweeted some of these hilarious memes. So one of the things with Trump is there's always this, Q, no Q. Oh, he met with Mondami. That was pretty incredible. Basically took Mondami's wind out from under his sails. It brings in Mondami. We're going to work with him. It's going to be great. We're aligning on affordability. Completely took the affordability talking point from Mondami. Let Mondami call him a fascist. Somebody asked him, do you think he's a fascist? And Trump goes, just let him say yes. It's easier. Then you don't have to explain, right? Totally takes the wind out of it. If Mondami succeeds, Trump can take that success and call it his own. If Mondami fails, Trump can turn around and say, I gave you everything you needed to succeed and you didn't succeed. Trump retweeted a lot of people saying, indict them all, hang them. It's George Washington would, all that kind of stuff. And then I wanted to show specifically these memes Donald Trump was posting, because again, we don't spend a ton of time on Truth Social looking at every little meme, but he did put out some good ones. He put out a video. So this is probably the biggest one. This video right here that Donald Trump retweeted. He says, we must focus all of our energy and might on election fraud. Now, you and I did the Venezuelan cartels are controlling our elections. Laura Logan interviewed the CIA whistleblower, the guy that went down there and all this stuff. And Trump just posted this entire podcast. Gary Bernstein and Ralph Pizzulio explain how America's enemies, foreign and domestic, are stealing the republic. We dissect controversial involvement of Smartmatic in the U.S. election system. That's the voting machines, and explore the swirling allegations of manipulation and fraud. Anyways, it goes through. This is all stuff that we're familiar with. Right. This is all stuff that we're familiar with.
This is something that
then he
no
retweets
generation
a
of
Glenn Beck
American
video
has
and a
ever
post by
seen.
Glenn Beck specifically citing which law the Democrats have broken. 18 U.S.C. 238.
Senators and
The statute makes it a
representatives
federal
went
crime
on
to deny
camera.
any of the following with the intent to interfere with the U.S. military operations: advise, urge, or attempt to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, refusal of duty among the U.S. service members, obstruct or attempt to obstruct recruiting, enlistment. So there's the actual crimes. He posted the video here of Glenn Beck explaining that.
This is something that no.
And then he posted this. King Trump, none shall escape his justice. The Democrat Party has become the party of domestic terrorists, right?
Let's talk right now. Do you believe President
Elizabeth
Trump has issued
lied
any...
about the
Oh
president?
man, that's hard to listen to.
I got to hit mute on those. So he just continues to go off. Then they start talking about passing the SAVE Act. And where's the other? Oh, then he goes off on Ilhan Omar. You support the idea of foreign-born citizens being barred from running for office? Yes or no?
Yes.
He posts a clip of Burkhart telling us that Elon Musk was run out of town because he found out the money was going out through USAID and coming right back to Democrats and Republicans. Trump posted that video. Some more about the pardons. It just continues to go on. Calls on the military, says the military is going to be looking at him. And then you get to this. This is the oath of enlistment. I do solemnly swear. More what definitions of sedition. And then we get this. Nothing can stop what's coming. Time to obliterate the deep state. Do it.
Oh, man.
Q.
This is a giant shot of hopium for me.
I know, right? Meanwhile, as Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned, she's like, there is no plan. There's no 4D or 5D chance.
Right.
General Flynn's like, what you see is what you get. There's no special plans. Meanwhile, Trump's out here like, time to obliterate the deep state. Do it, Q. TikTok, TikTok. You know, remember your oath. These are all Q. These are all Q memes. Like these are straight up right out of the text of Q. Okay?
Oh, no.
This one's kind of fun. I know it was an order, but I think we should all think about this before we attack. I think that was unlawful.
Oh, brother.
Oh, man. So anyways, so big emphasis on election fraud, which is where he wants to take us. So everything he kind of hit this weekend, we're going to touch on as we go through the show today. So the first thing is the financial corruption that was happening both through USAID, EPA, DOE. This was a Senate hearing where Senator Kennedy was asking about the EPA and that whole idea that in the last days of the Biden presidency, the EPA was throwing gold bars off the back of the Titanic, right? They were just shoveling money out the door to who knows where. Now, Lee Zeldin, we know this, was able to recover like 22 or 27 billion of it. There's quite a bit that's unrecovered.
It's rare that I'm speechless. But I want to be sure I understood. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful. Confidence undermining.
Okay.
So you're telling me that the Department of Energy, in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
The answer
correct.
My God.
Who's that dude that he's interviewing? Who's
It's
the guy?
a representative from the Department of Energy.
Okay. When he said distasteful, I was like, hold on.
Distasteful.
That's a little short.
Yeah. The buses will be free, Ron. Yeah. The buses will be free. Now you know why. They only need $8 billion to make the buses free in New York. Pretty sure you could pull it out of that EPA money. You know what I mean? This is the great smack in the face.
Mm-hmm.
There's that much money just floating around and we can't fund the projects we want, but we can fund your projects. How about the fact that we see a huge contingency of Washington very upset right now that we're on the verge of peace with Russia and Ukraine. Both Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a outlined 28-point peace plan. But
how dare you?
How dare you? The military industrial complex, though, is just having a fit. And Paulina Luna tells us why.
All right, a quick update on our efforts to ban insider trading. So first of all, any member of Congress that's saying that it's not happening, A, is lying to you. Both Democrats and Republicans that are engaging in individual stock trades are getting on average 600% returns, outperforming, that's right, you heard the S&P. Not just that, we know it's illegal, but they are still doing it. So I just want to ask the American people, which I know that you're going to side with me on it, but do you really think a member of Congress can best represent foreign policy, especially if they are personally invested in the defense industry with their stock portfolios? And the answer is no. I'll give you a prime example. Right now, you have the administration that's about to secure a peace deal between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States. This has massive economic opportunity for all citizens involved, and also who doesn't love peace unless you're a total sociopath. The point is that you actually have our own side, which is why I'm making this video to call it out. Our own GOP senators that are coming out against it. Let me give you a wild guess as to where they are personally invested with in regards to their stock portfolios. You guessed it, military industrial.
Go figure.
Okay.
But it's really bad for me, but it's good for my 401k. So,
you know, they're too busy watching out for themselves to watch out for anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Someone was 600 stock trades, or it was somebody that we know is on the Republican side had made, I think, it was Dan Crenshaw, maybe? I can't remember who it was. It was hundreds of stock trades. It adds up to multiple trades a day. Like, so you either, you know what I mean? It's like, you're doing this. Like,
you're
it's
like
not
a day trader.
Yeah, you're not just throwing a couple stocks out and holding them for multiple. It's like you're actively out there picking up all these stocks that you know that are going to be on the rise. 600% return is the average in Congress.
So ridiculous.
Pelosi's not even the top of the heap. That's the crazy thing. Okay. So again, we have corrupt money, right? And it's in the stocks. You also have the loop feedback of money coming back through USAID, which Trump basically confirmed by reposting Burkhart and stuff like that. And now we've got, is this Tim Dillon? Is that his name? Tim Dillon? So
comedian.
The comedian, yeah. So he makes a couple good points about this Epstein stuff, because remember, Mike Johnson got up and he's like, whoa, this Epstein stuff, the Senate's going to have to look at it. There's some classifications from other entities, CIA, intelligence. They need to release their classification. And Tim Dillon just kind of points out the obvious.
Officials or employees of the DOJ declassify materials that originated in other agencies.
Totally cool. Right. Great point. Let's not do it. He just won me over. I totally forgot about that. That's such a good point that he just made about totally fucking, the guy hit it out of the park right there. First of all, they literally told you a few months ago that Epstein was not running a trafficking ring at all. Now they're saying there are national security concerns in the intelligence of the guy who was not running a trafficking ring. Why would there be concerns about our national security in the Epstein files? Doesn't that seem odd to anyone? Supposedly there was no client list and he wasn't doing anything. And then if he was doing something, he was just pimping out girls to rich guys, which is obviously evil and they should all go to jail. But why does this have to do with our national security? That's odd. It's odd that we're talking about this in terms of, quote, intelligence and our national security. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein is just like a weird rich guy who has a predilection for underage girls, right? Like he's not doing anything on behalf of any foreign government, right?
So he just is like, right? I saw a really funny meme that had a picture of someone be like, what's our national security doing at Pedo Island? Like, hold on a second. Now, again, those of us who semi-followed this story, which we hate to have had to have followed it, we've kind of said, hey, it's the girls, it's the drugs and arms sales. Jesse Waters last week kind of said the same thing, where he's like, listen, it's either a blackmail ring or it's arms sales and whatever, which is why we want to know about the blackmail ring. You know what I mean? And that's why it's never been about money laundering or arms sales, because then Chase Bank and the Treasury would have to be in on it. And we just cannot believe that. Yeah, Peasants Perspective. Oh, that was you posting that. Yeah. Makes total sense. LOL. Yeah. What is our national security doing on Pedo Island? Mike Johnson goes into panic mode. We just release the documents, except for the stuff that's national security. Wait, I thought Epstein had nothing. What? Did he get a sweetheart deal from who? Okay. So now this is Chad Bianco. He's a governor candidate, and he's talking about the elections in California. Now we're going to talk a little bit about elections now, and kind of it all ties in together.
It's completely rigged. Our election process has been rigged to keep the Democrat Party in power, honestly, since the 60s. And every 20 years, people get so fed up with it, they elect a Republican governor. And that's where we are right now. The gerrymandering districting, really, for me, being at the head of law enforcement, the leader of law enforcement, the Constitution and the constitutional rights of Californians actually matter. And our current government, they despise both the state constitution and the federal constitution. So this gerrymandering of this election to keep them in power, it made no sense. We know that there was a lot of dishonesty in the advertising. I think it's going to backfire on what they did here, because it's one more nail in the coffin of we're tired of being lied to.
So Katie Porter, who's also running for governor.
Completely.
So he's basically saying,
this is our election process.
I don't know who this dude is, but I like him already. He's way better than the NPC Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, he's the sheriff of California. Now, coming out of California, Rep Swalwell, he thinks it's time that we change the voting system completely.
I want us to be able to vote by phone. California, vote by phone. Vote by phone. Yeah, if we can do our taxes, do our, make our healthcare appointments, make essentially your banking online, you should be able to vote by phone. I want us to be able to vote by phone.
Oh, yeah, great.
We can get screwed by Ticketmaster on our phones. We can...
Yeah, the Nigerians can take your vote. So this is part of that podcast that Donald Trump posted. Our audience, if you've been listening for a while, is already relatively aware of this. But contrast this. You have structural things like gerrymandering, which is old school, right? I mean, that's like old school stuff. And then you get into vote by mail and ballot harvesting and judges just pulling the lever and, ballot stuffing. But then we've got this whole other thing, which is the digital side. This isn't new. We've been using this for decades now. But there's always been a lot of questions because, anybody that's into computers kind of knows they can be hacked and do things that you don't want them to do, right?
Duh.
Well, these guys got the platform with Laura Logan to be able to talk about this stuff. Now, these are people we've been following for a while, okay? So this isn't new. But this all got briefed to the White House. They're fully aware of this. And this is why we have the Navy sitting down in the Caribbean north of Venezuela.
They know where they can find the dead people that they need to get certain votes. They plan this, as Gary said before.
It's meticulous.
It's meticulous. These guys are experts at this. It's not just a few guys in a back room. You're talking about hundreds of statisticians and engineers, and they work it, for a year.
And mathematicians and hackers.
Right.
We had a map out of Colorado when we were talking to our engineers, the guys that designed it, stole the elections. And we looked at it and we said, look, it's Denver here and Colorado Springs, all the Democrats, they said, and they looked at us in pity,
Yeah.
Like, I said, no, we just go to every one place where Trump wins 70-30 and he's winning 68 or we shave, and every other place. We don't go near a Democratic place because when they want to do recounts, they're going to go to the Democratic places. They don't realize we shaved in every other committee. We know every other county. We know how to do this. And then and then in each of those things where they shave with a different technique in each one of those. So if you found something in one county, there's no continuity around the state that way.
So this is why the Republicans are so much at fault, because they have the power and the ability to show in their areas. They can allow access to the machines. They can allow access to the source code. They can allow
But they thought we just won by 35%. Okay, we didn't win by 38. Yeah. We won by 35. So no one's going to call they should have, right?
Because everyone says, well, we expected the Republicans to win by a majority. Well, it was a little less than we thought it was going to be, but they still won. So, no harm, no foul. But the evidence of the fraud is right there, and they could show it.
They never looked at it.
They never looked at it. Now
that's because they're guilty.
That podcast goes on for hours.
That's because they're guilty.
Of course they are.
Hello, people.
I already did my time in prison, guys. So guess what?
I'm just saying, stop claiming affiliation with a party.
Huh?
Stop claiming affiliation with a party.
Yeah.
The parties are F.
It's a uniparty.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, no harm, no foul. We still won. It's a decent majority. Yeah, but that's how you lose a state like Colorado. Is they don't touch Denver, it's 60-40, but the population majority, then you start shaving percentages off other places. This is where Tina Peters comes in down in Mesa County, one of these outskirt counties of Colorado that, not a lot of attention. She's like, these numbers don't look right. I'm going to check these machines before you guys delete them.
Is she still in jail?
She was in solitary, just came out of solitary this weekend. They're doing everything they can to get her out, barring what they need to do to get her out, which is send the marshals, make her a federal witness. There's a dozen different things she could do.
Oh, yeah. They could get her out tomorrow.
Thomas Massie and Rand Paul are these two guys that get it when they get it. Thomas Massie, J6, Rand Paul, COVID. They get it. I'm like, thank you, Rand Paul, for sticking on Dr. Fauci, because I don't think Ted Cruz was going to do it. Thank you, Thomas Massie, for sticking on the J6 thing. Maybe the fact that you're not part of the Uniparty is one of the only reasons you've stuck with the story long enough, right? Well, here we've got Rand Paul, and he's, again, criticizing Trump for killing these Venezuelan terrorists on boats, and it's the libertarian mind. But again, we come back to the situation. Do you know what Venezuela has done to your country? The Supreme Court just approved deporting them on the Aliens and Enemies Act because it's a foreign invasion. So we are kind of at war with these people just based on the deaths on drug trade, let alone the economic harm from coming up into our country. And now we find out, and again, I'll just say this number, you can go verify it. These Venezuelan cartel guys, this Cartel del Sol or whatever, has stolen elections in 72 countries. But Rand Paul, let's not think about that.
I've seen you quoted as saying there are people in the administration who have wanted to go to war in Venezuela for some time. Who are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody who's aware that they've been stealing elections and knew that they were involved since 2020 in our elections via Dominion and Smartmatic. I don't know. The Sidney Powells of the world, the Rudy Giuliani's of the world that tried to tell you.
The pillow guy.
Yeah.
I think it's clear that Senator Rubio, as a senator, was very much an advocate of regime change. This was at odds, really, with President Trump. And so when he was picked, a lot of people who had been supportive of President Trump were, oh, my goodness, they're picking someone much more hawkish and much more eager to be involved and to intervene in other countries. And so people worried. And then the first year or so, people are like, oh, well, Rubio's done a good job on foreign aid, and they've cut back on all of the abuse of these NGOs around the world. And I think the people supporting the president have been very supportive of the Secretary of State. But I think once there's an invasion of Venezuela, or if they decide to re-up the subsidies and the gifts to Ukraine, I think you'll see a splintering and a fracturing of the movement that has supported the president, because I think a lot of people, including myself, were attracted to the president because of his reticence to get us involved in foreign war.
Yeah, we were all attracted to it. But see, these foreign wars, it's not just the foreign war. It's the foreign war over oil and corporate interests. This right here is our sovereignty. This is actually the war that we want to fight, right? Because this is about our sovereignty. If they're stealing elections and going unchecked, then I totally support Rubio wanting to do regime change for any reason, right? Now, another big win happened this weekend with Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch. Guess what? Maybe, just maybe, we won't be counting ballots after Election Day.
Huge Judicial Watch victory for the rule of law on elections. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals just ruled an hour or so ago that counting ballots that arrive days after Election Day is contrary to federal law, preempted by federal law. Mississippi counts ballots that arrive up to 5 days after Election Day. Judicial Watch challenged that in court, and the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals essentially said Judicial Watch is right. This is an historic victory for the rule of law. Too many states count ballots that arrive after Election Day. It's quite obviously contrary to the very notion of having an Election Day. It invites voter fraud and undermines voter confidence. Hopefully this victory is just the beginning, and we can get back to Election Day across the nation.
I didn't know that was happening. This is ridiculous. Jeez. Oh, shoot. We're losing. Send in some more ballots. Quick.
I cut my hand yesterday. I told you this earlier. I cut my hand on a tin can. I was pushing the garbage can, and the garbage can and the tin can just sliced right through my fingers. Yesterday, I was doing something in the kitchen, and I clapped my hand and just smacked my really deep cut that probably needs stitches. I just about did it again. I just went, I felt it in my body before I made the clap. Oh, man, that could have been rough. Okay, the other thing, too, is this is the United States Attorney for the Central District of California saying the thing we all knew. Again, this is an official U.S. attorney. So when he says this, makes you wonder, is there something going on behind the scenes?
That, and I'm not sure what the court based that on. Our lawsuit in California says just that. California used race. They wanted to draw Latino districts, and they said that. This isn't a theory or something. The legislators said that when they're passing this map, that they wanted an additional Latino district. So if that is enough to strike down the Texas map, and this one should get stricken down as well. Although the Texas maps, we do believe are lawful and constitutional, and we do think that's going to make its way quickly up to the Supreme Court.
Well, that would mean that the California redistricting would probably be legal too.
No, because we actually have evidence that the legislators improperly used race to draw the maps. They said it, and they've said it on record. And we're going to have a court hearing on December 3rd, and we'll get an answer very quickly.
Well, it's interesting. You know, the Brennan Center for Justice talks a lot about this, and that there are some 98 cases that are being tracked with legal challenges related to gerrymandering. All told, they report 49 cases raised allegations of race discrimination, often including referring back to the Voting Rights Act, to various other state constitutions, racial gerrymandering. What do you make of that being used so frequently in these lawsuits?
You know, that's the one thing the Supreme Court's looking at is a provision of the Voting Rights Act that we think sometimes does get abused.
So basically, the Voting Rights Act contains a little clause in there that kind of has allowed them to open this door to racially gerrymander districts.
Sure, she is the stupidest person.
The reporter.
Why is this happening so much? It's illegal, dummy.
Because they're trying to steal elections. Do you not get the bigger theme? Now, another big thing, a huge thing happened this weekend as far as a tool for we the people to identify a PSYOP, right? To identify paid shills. So X, formerly known as Twitter, instituted a policy where you can look up the country of origin of certain accounts. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
I blocked probably 20 accounts over the week because they're good accounts. They repost things that often make their way onto the show.
But they're accounts that are located in weird places.
Nigeria, Philippines. We're not doing this, right? I only care about your opinion if you're American.
You know what I think would be great? I mean, VPNs might mess this up. But I think it'd be great if they just showed like a global map, like a GIS, like boom, where all the accounts are. And I think that the world would probably tip over because it'd be so lopsided.
So the way they did this was if you're using a VPN, it shows lock, and then it still tells the country of origin.
Okay.
So it's telling you you're using a VPN, which then again is like, okay, well, this person's using a VPN, right? So you can't, anyways. So let's just look at this. Now, Thomas Massie and Rand Paul get a lot of juice online, you know. So check this out. Your Thomas Massie for President Foreign Intelligence Starter Pack. So this, somebody went through and grabbed a bunch of these accounts. These are from 11/23/25. These are recent. Right? MAGA folks need to accept the fact they have been lied to and duped. Massey for president, 2028. Lloyd Kaplan. Official Adam Richardson. Trump is destroying his own base and doing the opposite of most of what her promised. Rand Paul should run for president. Add Thomas Massie to the ticket. Thomas Massie for president from Claire. George Sears, Massie for president. Massie for 2028. If not, MTG. Massie for president. Oh, that's funny. Account based in Canada. Accounts based Canada. Iceland.
Looks like
Panama,
we're going to have
Italy,
a Canada hoax here pretty soon.
Yeah. So this started happening in mass. All the people that push Massie and MTG and Ron Paul, not all, but a lot of them are coming from these foreign accounts. A lot of them. Which, if you know anything about the Ron DeSantis campaign, they tried to AstroTurf you online by paying these foreign bot farms from all over the world to basically flood the airwaves with MAGA splitting, DeSantis heir apparent, right? And now they're on to Massie. It's the same bot farms. Again, Massie over and over is like a Trojan horse in the party. Here's another one, and I did verify this myself. I looked it up before anybody posted it because I just saw him in my feed. Alex Soros, George Soros' son. Interestingly enough, his account is based in Niger, and he is not using a VPN. Interestingly enough, Niger does not extradite to the U.S.
Oh, is that where he's hanging out?
So that's where he's posting. We will not back down. We will not be ashamed.
Sounds like you backed all the way down to Nigeria.
Now, I got to show you this. So let's go x.com. So there were a couple of these government accounts that got a little squirrely. Okay. So let's see. DHS. So Department of Homeland Security. There was a couple of these. So what you do is you come in and you look at the date and it will tell you. It says account based in the US. Okay. And you can go through and you can look at all these different accounts and find out where they're based. Now, there was an account, and I can't remember which one it was. They say here it was U.S. Homeland Security account. And when this first hit, the U.S. Homeland Security account was showing its country of origin as Israel.
Right.
Okay. Now,
I saw that.
There were some questions. Was that a spoof? Did whatever? Well, Elon Musk posted this. There are no community notes associated with this. DHS put out a little thing saying, well, no, we've always been based in America. Okay, but your account may or may not have been, okay? So Elon Musk, when this rolled out, did this, one of these little cute podcasts he does, and he was shown this in real time.
So that is that true? That's delightful. Is that actually happened? Of course it happened. I think this is a reflection of how just
oh my God
dark we've become. Oh my God. A lot of weird forces at odds with. So that
was his reaction.
Delightful.
I love seeing some Elon laugh.
Now, we can't say it was true or not. DHS is saying it was spoofed. There's no community noting on the stuff that says that it wasn't. They might have gone in there and quick.
Yeah.
Log in from Virginia. Now, Kristi Noem came out and this was kind of a bomb drop, and you got to, I don't know how to say it other than read between the lines and hear with your own ears. Look at what the current Department of Homeland Security Secretary is saying that the Democrats and NGOs have been doing.
Today, we are announcing that we have stopped all grant funding that's being abused by NGOs to facilitate illegal immigration into this country. So it's amazing to me the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent by the federal government that has been sent to NGOs to facilitate this invasion of our country. So I've taken action to stop those funds, to reevaluate them, and to make sure that we're actually using the taxpayer dollars in a way that strengthens this country, that keeps us safe. So I think people are curious when we look at grants that are given out by federal agencies at how they're utilized, and that evaluation needs to be done. We're not spending another dime to help the destruction of this country. We're going to make sure that we follow through on what President Trump has promised, and that's to make sure that we're securing our border, departing those who are here illegally, and committing criminal actions, and that our taxpayer dollars aren't spent to help it.
And Madam Secretary, I don't think people fully understand the role that NGOs play, many NGOs play, in facilitating illegal immigration. I just want to share these numbers with everybody up on the screen. We spend over $380 million, did in 2024, for sheltering and service programs for illegal immigrants. But the vast network of NGOs that help facilitate it through Panama, through Mexico, and make it a landing spot here in the United States is a massive contributor here to illegal immigration. So what you're telling us today is that now stops, at least the federal funding of that stops.
Yes, through the Department of Homeland Security, we have stopped spending those dollars to fund those NGOs. And well, what's been so revealing is that many of these NGOs actually have infrastructure and operations set up in Mexico on that side of the border that are telling those illegal immigrants to come to them, and they will get them across the border. So they're not just operating in the United States, they're operating outside of the United States to help make it easier for those who want to break our laws. Right. And well, I was one of those Americans that years ago, when somebody said NGO to me, I thought, oh, that's amazing. That's a nonprofit that's out there telling somebody about Jesus or spreading faith and salvation or doing good work and charitable work, helping people that are less fortunate. And then I realized over the years it's been perverted into this shadow government. An NGO is sometimes an operation that does things that the government cannot do, can't legally do. So they create an entity to use government dollars, taxpayer dollars, to do something that the federal government isn't allowed to do, to do a shadow government operation that really has been used recently to undermine our country's national security.
The director of Homeland Security just said the government itself was funding NGOs that set up a shadow government operating domestically and foreign to undermine the United States of America. And they cut off funding.
You should just let that sink in.
Just let that sink in for just a moment. The entire Democrat apparatus, all of it, was in opposite direction of interests of the United States. This is Lindy Lee. She was the former campaign manager for Kamala Harris, dyed in the wool through and through Democrat. Okay. This woman is going to debate you on abortion. This woman is going to debate you on unions and all that kind of stuff. But you know what she won't debate you on? America first.
I am a legal immigrant, okay? I oppose all illegal immigration. I'm sorry. I'm very, if that makes you nationalist, then I'm proudly nationalist. When did being American first become bigotry? When did wanting to take care of our children first, wanting to prioritize our students first, when did that become racism? I am a legal...
a long time
what
ago.
Did she say? Bigotry?
Bigotry?
Oh, bigotry. Yeah. I thought she said bigger tree. I was like, what is that? She is so white, by the way.
What do you mean?
Like her skin is so white.
Well, she's Asian. It's a compliment. I have a sister-in-law that's from Hong Kong.
No.
And every time I see her, I'm like, oh, oh, your skin is so white. You look so good. She's like, oh, thank you. Appreciate it. She goes out in the sun. She wears the big hats and the sleeves so they don't tan.
Oh.
They want to look whiter. So
I didn't know that was
the fact that she's looking white is probably intentional on her part.
Okay.
My guess. But that's a good point, right? Even normal Democrats, your blue dog Democrats, your Bill Clinton Democrats, they're America first. You know, that was the whole point of this thing. We're such a great nation. But the last couple years, that's not been the case, has it? And this, keep in mind, this open immigration thing was a policy shift from Barack Obama.
Are you America first, Taylor?
I hope so.
You bigger tree.
Bigger tree full of...
If a bigger tree falls in the woods.
It doesn't make any noise. Do the racist run away? I don't know. Okay, so obviously being America first seems common sense. But there's a large portion of actual people in our government and all these positions of power and influence that are not. We already showed you the bot farms. We already showed you all the what look like little independent accounts. Massey for president. MAGA's going. If you're looking at an account that's spewing hate, you've got to then look at the country of origin. And if you're not on X and you're on other platforms, you have to realize all those bot farms from Nigeria, which, trust me, quite a few of my deletions that were MAGA America first, that then kind of subtly sow some chaos coming out of Nigeria or the Philippines or East Asia. There was all these other spots, and a couple of them out of Israel, by the way. In fact, some of my favorite financial accounts were out of Israel. And I was like, So anyways, so you've got that zeitgeist that's created by these bot farms, creating kind of an online, putting reality to your suspicions of what's happening out in the streets. If we can pay people to do a protest and your feed makes it look like everybody's upset, then the world seems copacetic and in integrity. But those of us that go and visit those protests, we're like, these people are paid to be here. They don't really get this whole thing. They're kind of here because of other reasons. You know what I mean? It like doesn't line up with the online story. Well, a lot of this, and Rick Grinnell, you know, with these Democrat senators and representatives coming out and telling military members not to follow orders, Rick Grinnell's blowing the whistle. And he's like, listen, there's an actual insurrection happening within the government.
Rick, I want to get your take about what has taken place since you were DNI. You're the former DNI. Also, you are presidential envoy for special missions of the United Nations. This last 10 years and this investigation ongoing on whether or not it is a conspiracy, beginning with Russia collusion, where one political campaign, Hillary Clinton, came up with a lie about her political enemy, and it goes viral across the world, to the Hunter Biden laptop, to impeachments, and then 90-plus indictments against President Trump, the Mar-a-Lago raid. What do you want to say about what we have just experienced for 10 years of attacks against this president?
Well, it's clear to me that the bureaucracy led by the Democrats and the press are going to attack President Trump every time he tries to reform Washington. They don't want to reform. They like the system the way it is. And so when you look at the very beginning, when President Trump arrived in 2017, really beginning in 2016 with the election, the intelligence community and others had so many bad apples that they went after President Trump and created the Russian collusion hoax and all of these other things. This video that these Democrat elected officials are doing now is a call to arms to try to get the last remaining few people within the intelligence community, within the bureaucracy, to stand up and fight. I think it is an outrageous video. We should call it out constantly. What they're trying to do is mount an insurrection from within. And President Trump is right to be extremely angry. And I hope that John Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard understand that they've got to dig deep now to figure out how do we stop any of these leaks that are clearly going to be coming.
Yeah, I'm mad, and there's nothing I can do but, you know, talk on a podcast. But
Rick,
it's frustrating. And the thing is for those of us that have been paying attention, this is nothing new. These are some highlights from the New York Times. The Constitution is so sacred, it is also dangerous. The Constitution obstructing American is the Constitution obstructing American democracy? The Constitution is broken and should not be reclaimed. Let's give up on the Constitution. MAGA turns against the Constitution. U.S. lacks what every democracy needs. We had to force the Constitution to accommodate democracy, and it shows. This is the story of how Lincoln broke the U.S. Constitution. The Constitution won't save us from Trump.
Okay.
This is the New York Times. right? This is the New York Times.
Oh, jeez.
These are all New York Times.
Oh my gosh. What is wrong with us?
What did the prosecutor from California say? They hate the Constitution, the state and the federal one. The New York Times hates the Constitution. Here in Washington, our director of superintendent of curriculum hates the Constitution, says racism is in it, and was going to use COVID as a chance to re-educate Americans. Right? This is a multi-decade plan to get us to think the Constitution is outdated, not adequate for our needs, to think that we need NGO shadow governments, that there's nothing, those are just preaching Jesus. No, they're not.
No, when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know if you can even do that. There's like some separation there. Can you give money to a church?
Yeah. Can you gift money to a church?
No. I mean NGO government money.
Absolutely.
Really?
Churches are considered NGO, non-governmental organizations that operate across borders.
What about separation of church and state?
Separation of church, that's not what that means.
Okay.
That's not what that means at all.
Okay.
Separation of church and state just means the state can't have an official church.
Okay.
So if they give money to one church, they got to give them to the others. So if Islam gets a couple bucks, Southern Baptist is supposed to be able to get a couple bucks.
Okay.
But of course, they don't do it on parity. They do it based on application. So a lot of American churches, because they're tax exempt, they kind of do the whole, we don't need government money because we're principally based. Meanwhile, the mosque around the corner is taking all the government money.
But what I was going to say also is that the Constitution is the only thing that's keeping me safe and sane right now. So,
and what do I say all the time? There are no laws. There's only cops. Clearly, the Constitution has been violated. Where's my gold and silver, Ron?
No.
Why don't we get paid in gold and silver? Why can I not pay my taxes with a gold coin like the Constitution says?
I know, but what I'm saying is the Constitution is the only thing holding these people back from full-scale tyranny and just taking over our lives 100%.
What's holding back is the majority of the population thinks the Constitution is worth keeping.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about.
That's why they're on a 30-year bend to try to get Americans, specifically Democrats on the left, to be like, yeah, let's avoid that Constitution. It is keeping us from true democracy.
True progressivism.
Now, meanwhile, this idea of name calling and labeling, right, on the left has forever been used as a way to justify outright violence. This is a former Antifa guy who is explaining when they call you a Nazi, it's not so that they can debate you, it's so that they can kill you.
Say they're going to kill someone, or they think it's justified to attack someone because they're a fascist, for example.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like whether it's people deserve to die, they have no human rights. It's like calling someone a Nazi or a fascist. It's a way to just dehumanize them. You can do whatever to them. You can assault them. It's funny to them. They laugh about it. They don't kill you because you're a fascist. They call you a fascist so they can kill you. It's just a way to dehumanize people and threaten them. Originally, they were trying to bully and threaten like what they would consider right-wing extremists, like Proud Boys or like Christian nationalists, that show up to protests or events. They're bullying them. That's not the target anymore. Now the target is anyone that doesn't agree with them. Socially, when I'm not at a meeting, I'm just hanging out with people that I know, more and more they talk about acts of violence. They talk about guns or going to gun ranges, and it scares me.
Why do you think some of these people that are arming themselves and going to gun ranges and so on?
They feel as though they're under threat. Well, we're going to be genocided or put in prison, or Nazis have taken over America. And so we have to act now to stop it.
That kind of rhetoric and those ideas, do you feel that it's kind of like a radicalization or self-radicalization, almost akin to, let's say, an Islamist group?
How is this different than a group like ISIS?
That's a good question.
Yeah, okay.
So he's explaining there, right? This Antifa leftist movement, they demonize you to hurt you. Mm-hmm. It's not that they hurt you and then demonize you it's the other way around.
Right.
The demonization happens first. You call Trump a Nazi, and eventually, a Thomas Crooks is going to show up to shoot him. Mm-hmm. Right? You call these different people something, and eventually someone's going to do something. Now, the shoe fits on the other foot too, right? If Donald Trump calls people seditionists, there might be a crazy, Vietnam vet out there that's like, that's my call to duty. You know what I mean? Not good. Not good. Now, this activism shows up all over the place. Once you kind of see it, once you can kind of identify the mindset, the anti-Constitution, we just need to change things. Some people are more aggressive about it, Antifa. Some people are less aggressive about it, but still doing the same amount of damage. Here's an example of this judge who let a defendant go after 72 prior arrests. This is unfathomable for me, okay? 72 prior arrests. Holy cow. Let him go, and he turned around and burnt a woman in Chicago. Toasted her, okay? This is the woman giving a little lecture about bond and fees and tickets.
As Vice President for the Office of Inclusion, Diversity, and Equal Opportunity.
The first time I came out on the bench and the deputy announced, all rise, the Honorable Judge Teresa Molina, the whole courtroom stood up and I was all excited. He's walking out there. And I saw an Illinois State Trooper. He was African-American. He had a sleeve covering his tattoos. And he was standing there and he looked at me and he nodded. And I knew what that meant. And so I looked at him and I nodded back like, that's right, we're doing this. And it felt so good. It felt so good. So to me, a fine of $354, which is our normal no insurance fine, that's a lot of money. And some of the judges that I work with came from money, so $354 is no big deal. But to most of the people that come to my courtroom, it is a big deal. And so I always offer them the opportunity to do community service. Being Latina in the office, people would tell me, like, don't you feel like you're prosecuting your own people? But it's true. There were a lot of, defendants that look like me. However, I had a chance as a prosecutor to make a difference as to what cases come in. I had a chance as a prosecutor to decide what offers were appropriate. And so I always offer them the opportunity to do community service.
I serve as Vice President for the Office of Inclusion.
If you're black or brown, she's going to give you the opportunity to community service because, you've been disadvantaged and stuff. Even someone who's been arrested 72 times that goes on to kill somebody. Well, that $350 fine was a little much. Okay. Now, here's a situation. This is another judge courtroom where you've got a young black man who's out on release. So he's on probation. And apparently his probation has no check-ins. So he's just supposed to show up to court, right? But his probation officer said something kind of stupid. Judges' orders don't matter here. This is how we do it. And kind of violated the court order and the court program. And he mentioned it in court. And this judge lost her mind. So now you've got a situation where someone's being asked to do a little bit more while they're out on release. The system kind of says no to this judge, and this judge kind of loses it.
You're on a non-reporting probation anyway. So if they've had you reporting monthly, you didn't have to do that.
I said that originally, but they told me that the judge don't make the rules here. That was the quote that they...
Who told you that? Oh, hold on. Mr. Flanagan, call Mr. Farmer right now. Call him right now. Yes. Going to be a great day.
There it is. The judge don't make the rules here.
So now, yes, you shouldn't be denying a court rule. If the court rule says no check-in, then it's no check-in. That's fair enough. But the way this judge reacts, like she's going to come after the system, it's going to be a good day.
That's the line. That's the exact moment Judge Bryant goes from calm to absolutely done. Think about the implications court-ordered probation.
Look at her thing. Association of Black Judges of Michigan. What?
Jeez.
So you're wearing your race on your skin. How much you want to bet the probation officer's white?
Overridden by someone in the probation office that's not just bad practice, it's borderline illegal. Judge Bryant's response, swift, loud, and righteous. She demands a live call with Mr. Farmer. She's not letting this slide, not today.
Call him right now. I need you to tell us who told you that. Call them right now. Matter of fact, you can call Mr. Wade too. Call them right now. Yes. I like you, Mr. Lee. I like you. You didn't even mean to tell on them, but you did.
Yeah, I didn't. It's Miss Bryson. She's no longer there anymore. That was the former probation officer that I had.
Let me make sure they have a meeting with probation while you on here. Let's make sure they have a meeting with the probation, because if I ever hear somebody say that again, I'm gonna hold them in contempt. Yeah, but we gonna do this right now. Oh, I'm so excited. This turned out to be a great Tuesday.
I mean, at a certain point, you're like, well, if someone's rights are being violated, I'd love to have a judge get all excited about that, but it just doesn't feel right. It feels a little bit kind of like this, right? It feels like they're in some kind of association that just wants to perpetuate this.
The fact of the matter is we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. You know, let's let them out on community service when they should be getting tickets, and let's let them out on bond when they should be sitting in pretrial because they committed violent crimes. Let's let them commit other violent crimes, and then let's refer to our own police and judicial system and jails as weapons of violence, or what did you just call them?
I don't know. I know we're all just people, but how do we get so many retards in office?
Listen, man, what's going on at the top happens all the way down at the bottom. Okay, this all of this is like collectively symptomatic. And until we recognize that as a people, our Constitution won't change.
Okay.
Right? Not the written Constitution, our Constitution to tolerate this stuff. The assumption that everything's just okay, that everyone follows the rules, that everyone's treated equally has not been accurate, at least the last 5 to 10 years. Aggressively not accurate. With the introduction of DEI, which was basically all the worst elements of affirmative action, but on steroids, it was openly hostile to cisgender whites, right?
Which affirmative action should have been done away with.
Yeah, and it's absolutely corrupted our young women in the fact that here I go, sound like a white supremacist in prison. It corrupted our young women because it's made them look away from their race because they're no good, you know, cisgender white men, and it's caused them to kind of have the allure of the other, and it's a problem. Okay, now this is a police officer on the Sean Ryan show, former police officer, talking about what it was like to patrol the streets. Now, I've talked to a lot of police officers over the years, and I can say that this is not a unique experience.
I used to get in trouble and have to go do racist classes because I was pulling over too many black people. But my district was all African Americans. Like, so what did I do? Stop stopping cars. I let known drug dealers drive past me because I'd already stopped too many black people. And it's because leadership. It's because instead of having a backbone and being a man, they would rather throw you under the bus and make themselves look good. We disciplined him, don't worry. Instead of saying, hey, Blake is assigned to an area full of African Americans, he's probably going to have a higher traffic stop rating for those kind of people. Like, I have heard people say, go stop more white people. What does that even mean? Go violate somebody's right? Stop them because they're white now? That's the leadership mentality that we're having nationwide. It don't even make sense.
How would you even, how would you begin to fix this?
Okay, so, you know, go pull over some white people. You're in an all-black district. There's no white people to pull over. I guess I won't pull anybody over. I have another officer in Boise that told me when a certain mayor got elected that he got rid of the gang units. You know, they had like 6 gang units, and he got rid of 4 or 5 of them. And he's like, "Oh, look, gang crime's down." It's like, no, you have there's less arrests. Your capacity to arrest went down. You know, it's like this is ultimate number manipulation. It's like the Chicago mayor that's like, crime is going down. Your stats are going down.
You know, if defund the police had worked, we wouldn't have any crime.
Crime stats.
We would be crime free.
We'd be crime stat free. We'd be crime stat free.
Right.
Okay? Just like in prisons that have massive amounts of violence, but they have very little stats on it. You know why? Because most of that violence happens in the bathrooms and in the yard. You know what I mean? It doesn't get reported. Okay. That nationwide mentality, though, it's not just law enforcement. It was the IRS. Hey, look at what the Somalis are doing. Oh, this group. You're trying to paint with a brush, call them Somalis? They're just individuals grifting money. Well, yeah, but because they're Somalis, we're not going to investigate them. Go look at patriot groups. The Lois Lerner IRS scandal. Go audit all these patriot groups. You'll find nothing. None of them will end up in court, but they'll waste their time, their energy with lawyers and tax court and all this stuff. It'll amount to absolutely nothing. But don't look at the Somalis.
And they won't be looking in the right place.
Yeah, don't look at the Somalis, because every time we look at the Somalis, we find crime, but that feels racial. You know, all the Democrats that are under indictment, literally, we have 3 Democrats that are serving in the House and Senate right now that are under criminal federal indictment. They're all black. So what do? Turn a crime to any other black people that do a crime? It's kind of a weird deal, right? To look at it that way.
White people.
Huh?
Why don't you go indict some white people?
You know what? Absolutely. I mean, James Comey, isn't he one?
There we go. See, we're not racist.
Newt Gingrich, who I often say, I met Newt Gingrich at the 1996 Republican National Convention in San Diego, California. Back when he was Speaker of the House. So Newt Gingrich, and I was like 12 or something, like I was a kid, but Newt Gingrich had this to say about Donald Trump. And I agree. Donald Trump is doing some phenomenal things. He's putting his name up there with the greatest presidents we've ever had.
I think President Trump is now moving into being a world figure in the sense that President Franklin Roosevelt and Prime Minister Winston Churchill were. He is achieving an orchestration of all of the major Arab states in order to support a peace agreement, and he is bringing enough pressure to bear on Benjamin Netanyahu that the Israelis are going to go along whether they wanted to or not. And as a result, he's creating sort of a forge of peace out of the sheer pressure of his personality and his ability to create friendships in Saudi Arabia, friendships in the UAE, friendships in Qatar, friendships in Egypt. I mean, this is an amazing orchestration by Donald Trump. If it works, and I suspect it will, you're going to see a moment of history that literally puts him in the same league as Franklin Roosevelt and Winston Churchill.
That's pretty incredible. Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt, you know, Steve Bannon always says George Washington and Lincoln. So maybe after his presidency, Newt Gingrich will acknowledge the George Washington-Lincoln comparison. We'll see. There's another clip that I wanted to show before we jump over to private. When we jump over to private, we're going to be talking about some private equity firms and how they're scooping up youth sports leagues. We're going to be hearing from Scott Bessent and a conversation he had on MSNBC. And we're going to be hearing a little bit from Michael Fanone, J6 cop, and how he cannot afford health insurance. And then we're going to hear Trump's solution to it. And we're going to talk a little bit about housing. So we have quite a bit to talk about in the private section. But before we do that, I want to listen to this dialogue between Scott Jennings and Kara Swisher, who are both commentaries. Kara Swisher's on the left. Now, this is fascinating. I often say we're only as good as the information we have. So here you've got Scott Jennings, commentator, pundit, Kara Swisher, commentator, pundit. You'd think these guys would both be playing off the same sheet of music. You'd think they'd both read the same reports and whatnot. But clearly what we're seeing, and this has been proven empirically, Republicans see more of the spectrum. Like we read our opponent's stuff so that we can debate them and prepare for them. On the left, they don't seem to do that. They operate in isolation. So they're unaware of major parts of stories. Right. So we're going to listen to this. It's a little.
I remember one of the kids that asked Charlie Kirk about how he could understand the right. He talked about this exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are, Kara Swisher making a lot more money than us, doing the same thing, totally unaware of, for example, the Hunter Biden laptop being ultimately, she just kind of brushes it off like it's no big deal.
Wasn't really any dispute of that other than from these 50 people who come from government, who are in and out of government when Democrats are in power.
That's politics to me, Scott. That's, I mean, you're not naive. They were making their case, just like you would say Trump just did with whatever issue he has.
Well, I don't agree that it's just a simple matter of making your case. When you use your government title and you use your intelligence bona fides and you use all your credentials to flat out lie to the American people, they didn't know that. That was a political argument, but they were saying this is Russian disinformation. What you're reading is directly out of the Kremlin. It was one of the biggest lies that was told to try to get Joe Biden over the finish line. Do you think it's just politics as usual?
Yes, I do, actually. I think I do.
Do you like it?
Absolutely. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I
don't like Trump meddling with Intel. I don't like Trump meddling with the tech companies. I don't like the paper play that looks like it's available right now for these companies. I know why they're doing it. I know why they're paying this money. I know why they're giving the money. This is not a new and fresh thing. And I think the tech companies will go wherever their bread is buttered. That's really pretty much how I look at them.
Can I make one more comment about, because I think it's an important debate. you had that issue going on. And then there was, there's also been questions about what was kept from the American people or what information was, downplayed from the American people during COVID. I mean, there were people that had opinions or ideas about COVID and what was going on during that time, and people lost access to social media. People, had their opinions, villainized. Turns out some of those people were right, and the people who were censoring them were wrong. And so I guess my point is this. There is a general feeling that if the elites make a decision about what the narrative is going to be, they can crush you, and they can either coerce tech companies into crushing you. They can coerce media into crushing you. But the crushing of opinions and dissent in this case, I think, left a bad taste in people's mouth.
I guess I could just say Brendan Carr right now making threats against Disney. I could say lawyers. I guess I could say, it's quite similar. I mean, tastes the same, tastes like chicken to me, as the expression goes.
What information about Donald Trump is being censored from the American people?
I think these are private companies. They can do whatever they want, Scott. And I don't think it was coerced or colluded. I think these, just as now, as law firms are backing down and making payments, or in universities are worried about their funding and they'll make payments. It's awfully similar in terms of what people can and can't say. I think these lawsuits against media companies, it's the same thing. It's the same exact playbook if you want to compare them. And in fact, it's a playbook that's been, what's the word when you take steroids? It's on steroids is what's happening now. But let me ask, I think Donald Trump is an elite, is crushing dissent same way.
So this is what we're up against as peasants. We're up against the people that just do it's new boss, same thing. No. Russiagate was fake.
This was an incredible clip. I mean, she admitted
to being unaware.
Well, not only that, she admitted that, tech knows where their bread is buttered. Well, were you guys buttering their bread?
Were you buttering their bread?
What the frick, man?
and it's like, Brandon Carr and the FCC's coming down with a heavy hand. That's because they're lying. They've been caught lying. You would be the first. Remember Hillary Clinton, all these misinformation channels, they need to go to prison. You put a man in prison for posting a meme. Okay. So now you're over here going, it's totally the same. No, it's not.
No, it is not. Man,
one was the crime. The other one is punishing the crime. Don't make them the same. They're not the same.
No.
All right, guys, it is time for us to jump over on the private with the unoffendables. So those of you that are joining us over there, we'd really appreciate it. Those of you that stuck with us to the end of this, please don't forget to hit the like button, make a comment, and of course, hit repost on Rumble, Facebook, X, or YouTube, anywhere you're listening.
If you were losing your mind on that last clip, I want to see your comments.
Ron stood up, gave the screen the double middle finger, and was like, It is frustrating when someone like that, who's allegedly in the news, but then doesn't seem to understand key points. Like, that was just their interpretation of the laptop.
My little dumb opinion, if we keep listening to dumbasses like this on, channels where people are listening to, the public is supposed to be finding out what's going on. What are we to do if we have to just keep listening to this nonsense?
We have to debate it. I mean, that's the thing. You have to point it out. You have to constantly be on it and correct the record and add the, this is the Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
Right? Facts don't care about your feelings. Well, the crime stats are down, but the crime is not. That's the fact. It doesn't care about your feelings about stats.
Well,
I would disagree. Yeah. I think it's politics as usual. Whatever. All right, guys. Unoffendables.